Hey
Hello,
everybody,
hello. I'm Hailey.
welcome to, hi, I'm Stephanie, and welcome to the Art of Intuition. Nice to see you again, Haley.
Good to see you. Good to see you. I am tired today.
I'm excited today. I've had a really cool day networking. I don't know if you can see, I'm wearing a name tag today. I'm at the Venture Cafe, which is actually a really cool event that happens all over the world. But the Phoenix one is like the coolest of all of them. They
I
have
think,
biggest numbers. Like 80 people show up to these things every week. It's freaking
nice.
amazing. So I love being here. And they very, very graciously gave me a space to do our podcast interview today. Or this isn't really an interview. I can't call it that. It's a discussion.
They also gave Stephanie a glass of wine. So
I did. I'm a little buzzed. Yes, a little bit.
fun stuff.
Yes.
Fun stuff. I'm
So
in the middle of moving.
we're
So
talking tonight. Oh my God. I'm in the middle of like just event planning. I've got this beautiful event that I'm planning for March, which I'm really hoping Haley could be a part of. Um, and the other thing I'm really excited about is like all of the amazing people that are showing up for my group Akashic Records events. It's like those have been really cool too. So that actually leads us to our conversation today. We're going to talk about the Akashic Records. So, do you want to kick that off, Haley? Why did you ask?
I mean, because I don't know shit about the Akashic records. I know that I unlocked mine, and now my dreams are real vivid, and I can remember them every night. And that's about it.
Cool. I got trained to be an Akashic practitioner in May of 2024. And this was such an amazing blessing because part of the training was to offer free Akashic records as practice for a period of 30 days. So I put it out there, and I kid you not, I got 127 inquiries, and I did
No shit.
81 Akashic record readings during the month of May. It blew me away how much information came through during that month. And what was really cool about that is it set me up for amazing success. Being completely comfortable opening the Akash and like being in there and speaking to the guides and everything. So the way that I was trained, there's a woman out there named Linda Howe. She's one of the first pioneers of the Akashic Records. She wrote a book about it, How to Open Your Akashic Records. And this, she actually wrote this at a time that it was like still very woo-woo, and people were thinking like this is crazy shit. So back then, this was like in the late 80s when she published that book. She also established an organization in Boulder, Colorado, at the Center for the Study of Akashic Records, and she still to this day teaches these classes. And so she has this process. It's called the pathway prayer process to open the heart of the Akashic records. It's like a prayer, and I use the name of the person that I'm opening the Akash for. And in the prayer process, then I open the Akash and I get to communicate with their spirit guides, with their higher self, with their loved ones, if they so desire. There's a space inside the Akashic Records called the Sanctuary, where the loved ones just kind of hang out that are connected to you and your soul journey. And then you also get to communicate with the masters and the teachers. There's also the lords of the Akashic Records, but we don't get to communicate with them. They like just manage the space. And I mean, I envision this space kind of like this gigantic hall, a huge library of information. And that's totally what it felt like the first time I opened the Akash, I was like, oh my God, this is so big. Like I could feel the infinite amounts of information for like forever. It was amazing. So
Huh.
oh my God. Yeah. So when I first started opening Akash, I started to ask questions, and I set an intention to do an Akashic record opening for myself every Sunday as like part of my spiritual practice. And I did that for months. Lately, I haven't done it. I haven't been opening the Akash for myself. And really, I don't know why I stopped. I think it was just life,
Probably.
and just the way that things kind of happened. But I was really getting really good guidance on how to maneuver through my business, how to maneuver through life, what kind of choices were going to be in my highest good, and how I could start to step into my purpose and be more intentional in that purpose so that I could actually create success in my life. And I mean, that
So,
is exactly the result that I am experiencing today.
so like with Akashic record readings, like I don't see anything about that usually like online, like people getting readings done. Like, so is it something where it's more of a one-on-one, whereas some people who do like tarot readings, they'll do tarot readings online and they'll like post them places, or is it something where somebody might get an Akashic reading done and somebody would record it, or what's the public eye on that?
Well, yeah, there are places that you can get a reading, either one on one or in a group setting. There's a lot of people out there that are Akashic practitioners like me that are either hosting one or both. So, my process, I can do an online session or an in-person session. I prefer to be able to look into the person's eyes to do the session. I had a couple of sessions over the phone when I was doing those practice sessions in May, and I just didn't like how it worked out. There was one girl that was like only half paying attention, and it just irritated me. Like, I'm opening her Akash and giving her all this guidance, and she's only halfway there. So I was like, ugh, yeah, no, it has to be either on Zoom or in person. That's my preference. But then I know there's the very first person that I found that was doing Akashic Records actually was a psychotherapist. She's based, I think, somewhere on the East Coast. I don't remember exactly where she's at. Her name is Laura Mazzata, and her website is theakashictherapist.com. She's actually a psychotherapist who discovered the Akash because she's also psychic and opened the Akash and has developed her own training program to teach people how to open their own Akashic records. Beautiful lady, absolutely very gifted. And she will actually do weekly, every Sunday, she posts on Facebook and Instagram. She does an Akashic reading for the collective. So she'll actually open it up and get messages and then write a message for the collective. And so I follow her on Instagram and I read those messages every week because a lot of times what she's giving us is guidance for the week, really powerful guidance for just
Right.
awareness about what's going to happen happening in the planet, what's happening in the world and people, the challenges that we're facing, the energies that we're facing, and the different things that we might have to navigate over the next week. So I've honestly I've followed a lot of channelers on YouTube because a lot of times, it's like, yes, I am a psychic medium. Yes, I receive profound information, but I also like to have some clarity and sometimes verification, like that
Hmm.
the information that came through was truly for the greater good. So I like to listen to other channels to get more of that grounded feeling.
Yeah.
And there's some really amazing healers out there that are doing some awesome work on YouTube. There's another Akashic channeler, her name is Ilunia Noel, that I follow, that is just so beautiful, so sweet. And she does some really amazing channels. She's a trance channel. So she will actually leave her body and channel whoever's coming through her. She has a Pleiadian council that she channels. And the information that comes through, a lot of times, it's very much like you get the healing energy of the light codes as they're communicating through her.
Hmm.
And so it's a very healing experience, even just listening to it on YouTube. So that I think
No
is
shit.
super interesting.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I follow one tarot reader on YouTube, and that's Ali Tarot, or Ali's Tarot, and she does it based off your zodiac sign. Um, and then she'll do like
Nice.
every weekend, she'll do just a quick check-in. She'll do a monthly reading, and halfway through the month reading, I've followed her for a few years now. My spiritual mentor showed me her, and she's usually spot the fuck on, and I'm like, well, let's go, Saggies. But yeah, no, I was just curious because I didn't know, like, and I don't know how it all, I don't know how it works. I've never had an Akashic reading done. I know that it kind of unlocked for myself to have the ability to learn how to go into it, but I've never done that. And so that's why I was curious.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I highly recommend it. If you're curious about the Akashic Records, if it's come into your consciousness over the last several months, it's definitely something to pursue. And so, I mean, the book that Linda Howe published, I got it off Amazon for like $12. So super
It's not
easy
bad.
access. And it's a paperback. And in the book, it says if you want to be a practitioner, you practice and then you practice on others. And then you spend that time in that practice, basically developing your craft. And
Hmm.
as you're, developing your craft, you get to know your guides really, really well. You can actually meet your guides and learn their names, where they came from, why they're connected to you, their purpose with you, and what they do for you, what kind of guidance they give you. It is so cool. So, like a lot of times when I do these group sessions, I will mention that in the introduction, and almost everyone in the room will ask to meet their guides because it's
Hmm.
just such a cool thing to know who your guides are and to be able to communicate with them,
Right.
So I mean, that's the cool part. So, I mean, we've been talking a lot about spirituality and a lot of, opening up to these spiritual truths. And I think that it's super important as there's so many of us that are waking up to our spiritual gifts and what we're able to do, that I was thinking that we almost need some guidance in this area because like we talked about last time about the spiritual ego and spiritual bypassing, I think it's important to know how to navigate in the spirit realm. So I know that we are multidimensional beings. This is something that's just part of our truth as human beings on this planet. And I know that the veil is thinning. I know that more and more
Timelines
people
are
are waking up.
merging and we're having timeline jumps
Yeah,
and shit's been wild. Yep.
for sure. And really, I mean, people are opening up to these higher frequencies and they're getting to know their galactic families and like having visions of where they were before, even past lives. I talked to somebody who like has lived her whole life having an understanding that she has been connected and on this planet for thousands of years and could see all of those experiences from past lives from age like 4. And so she was seeking, but at the same time, like she didn't have clarity when she was 4 years old about what that was. So she just had a whole lot of fear. And that poor kid didn't know
Yeah.
what was going on, and she didn't have a spiritual guide. And so as I've been navigating, man, I met this girl, and you know what? I mean, she's definitely somebody I want to invite into our conversation. Her name is Spring. She's somewhere in Arizona. I don't remember where she is, but she started a school for star seeds, and she actually
Nice.
teaches them spiritual awareness at age 4. I'm like, oh my God, finally. I would have been so much better off in a school like
Yeah.
that when I was a kid. I mean, the first time I had a
Yep.
psychic experience, I was 5 years old.
Yep. Yeah. Come next year, I will be going and doing a talk on being a medium and doing this talk on this cruise with all these families. And then we're going to do a class hosting kind of and see what kids resonate within the understandings and the experiences that you go through as like a medium or as a psychic as a child, and then the ones that don't, we're going to separate them over with like a channeled, like a trained psychic instead of somebody that's just naturally innately born with it, which will be me. And the kids who get it and have experienced it, they'll be coming with me, and then I'll be starting a mentorship program where then those kids that didn't have those experiences and haven't had those experiences, them as long and as well as the families of the kids that'll be coming with me for the mentoring, they're going to be going and getting taught just like the literacy of it and the respect of it and how to understand it better so that it's not such a taboo
Oh,
subject. And so
man,
I'm
that's
super
really
super
cool.
stoked for that.
That is very, very cool. I love it. Um, uh, yeah, I mean, honestly, I guess, I mean, the most important thing really is to use your discernment. I mean, navigating through life, this is something you just know how to do is use your discernment. It's not about using judgment. It's more about checking in with your intuition, checking in with your gut feeling. When you're interacting with spiritual entities or beings, you want to check in. Does it feel like a conversation that's based in love, on heart-centered conversation, or does it feel like a conversation based in fear? Because there are entities out there that want to attach to us, especially if we live a very fear-based reality, that these are fear-mongering kind of beings that will attach, negative entities that will attach. And those negative entities will actually cause suffering. They'll cause us to believe limiting beliefs about ourselves, doubt about ourselves, and put us into chaos. And like this is really happening. There are a lot of spiritual people out there talking that this is like spiritual warfare right now because there's so
Yeah.
many beings
Well,
that are
that's the thing
checking
is,
in and
well, and
yeah.
a lot of it, I think that it's important to recognize that not every single person that has fears has something negatively attached to them. It's not always an entity.
True.
Um,
Right. It
and
might
it's
just be a
very,
belief system.
yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of the time it's your belief system, but once you've gone through your belief system, you've changed your belief system and you've grown through the fears and through the self-doubt and all of that, and then all of a sudden something comes up a year or two later. It's important to use that discernment to figure out, is this something spiritually attacking me, or is this something where maybe I'm just forgetting, I'm moving back to my roots and I need to pull myself from
Right,
that.
right.
And that's
That's
a very
very
important
important.
part of it. But no, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, and that's what I mean.
There's so many different beings now with these timelines merging, and like we're jumping timelines, merging timelines, whatever you want to call it, like with things changing. I noticed yesterday when I was driving home, I was on the other side of the state. So when I was driving home, I noticed like there's like houses that weren't there before. And I've lived here my whole life and traveled back and forth every single month for the last year and a half. And so I'm like, that wasn't there before. Like, and tell myself, I'm like, no, maybe it was. No, no, it wasn't. And all right, cool. But you have to remember, you're seeing different things. I saw a thing where people were talking about, and I kind of did a deep dive into it because I'm sort of a conspiracy theorist myself, of how some people were experiencing like the LA fires and some people weren't.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah. And so I was like, whoa, like this is
Wow.
wild. And then uh with the planetary alignment and everything else that happened. And so where was I going with that? Yeah, the discernment
Use
side
your
of it.
discernment.
Yeah, straight up, just use your
I
discernment.
guess, I mean, that's the biggest thing is use your discernment. Make sure that you're navigating through these higher frequencies from a place of awareness, that you're not just kind of willy-nillying it and jumping in and just saying like whatever. That's exactly what happens when people do like ayahuasca or some other psychotropic or psychologically what is the term I'm looking for?
Well, like a psychedelic,
Um,
because the you can't use
Psychedelic,
nootropics,
thank you.
because yeah, I was gonna say nootropics
Yeah,
are
so
different than that.
psychedelics.
So
When you have some kind of spiritual experience during that, you never know who you're talking to. And
right.
because you're completely vulnerable, you're not in your discernment, you're not sober, and you're going through this experience with just completely wide-eyed and not knowing who you're connecting to. So sometimes it's like I want people to understand that this is not coming from a place of fear. It's more about coming from a place of love. That when you're connecting with your higher self or you're connecting with your spirit guides, the communication should feel like love energy. It should feel like healthy guidance. It should feel like rational and um, it shouldn't feel like commanding. They shouldn't be barking orders at you. They shouldn't be treating you badly, calling you names or anything. Like these are the kind of discernment understandings that when you start to navigate through these connections with your intuition or with your, higher self, that you are paying attention.
Hmm.
So being present
Yeah.
to those things. Um, yeah. So I mean that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about tonight. Um, I can't think of anything. Do you have any other questions?
I don't think so. I'm so tired from this move and getting ready for movers to come in the morning that I am just beat. It was
Yeah.
That's why we were gone last week. Like this move is just not my friend. So
No,
yeah,
it's taking forever.
yeah. Like,
Yeah.
can we just get it done already?
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah.
doesn't matter how much magic you do, your friends aren't going to show up to help you move.
I find, yes, sometimes you gotta like beg in some places, in some cases.
Honestly, the second that like nobody showed up to help me when I was moving, because my ex left a bunch of stuff at my house, which was dumb. He broke into my apartment and stole a bunch of shit from me back in May after he was removed from the property, and then left a bunch of his shit. Um, and I'm nice, and so I'm like texting his mom, "Can you figure out some way to get this out of my house?" Like, um. So then now the move is happening, and I have to address all that because it's literally just been all put away in my master bathroom for months. Now that I have to kind of address that, it's been different. And I
Mhm.
was trying to lift shit up by myself. Did not happen, did not work. I got half a
Mhm.
load lifted and fucked up my back so bad, like it was
Oh,
insane. Yeah. And so I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh yeah. So instead of begging, I just called mover, like I called different moving companies and I was like, just hiring movers, fuck this. Like it'll
yeah,
work out way better.
for
So
sure, for sure.
have two
Yeah,
dudes
that's
show up
good.
and this is what they do for work. I'll pay them some money and they'll load my shit and do the move off.
Right on. That's good. I'm glad you have help. Well, good luck with everything. And
Likewise.
thank you all for listening today. And
I'll see you next week.
that I hope that, this information has been helpful for you, but please do reach out if you have questions because, I mean, as you're navigating through spiritual awareness, a lot of questions come up. So feel free to reach out to either me or Hailey, ask questions, get some guidance. Feel free to
Right?
reach out, get an Akashic reading or a tarot reading, and just get more information because the more you know, the more you're armed with that knowledge to navigate more safely and more freely through all of this stuff.
Oh, I
Yeah.
just now saw your text of not at home. Time is limited.
Awesome.
Smooth.
Awesome. Well, thank you,
Cool.
love.
Yep. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.